What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Debt to Dollars and another episode of our top 3 products for this coming month. So today I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys my top 3 products for April 2021 that I believe are going to be in high demand and low competition for actually a couple months to come. One thing that I want to mention today, guys, before we get started is that you may notice that the opportunity scores in this video for these products, they aren't as great as they normally are in some previous videos. The reason why that is because Jungle Scout takes their data in a smaller time frame versus what I'm going to be taking a look at today. So I'm going to set you guys up for months ahead versus Jungle Scout, which is really just looking for a high demand, low competition product in that small time frame, which could be that month. As I've noticed in the past with Jungle Scout, those opportunity scores, if you're just looking at those, you're going to fail on a product, because I've noticed within a day's time frame that opportunity score can go from an 8 to a 6, the whole way down to a 4, just as people begin to enter the market and begin selling that product. Okay guys, now that you know that, we can jump into the video here and let's get into the top 3 products for April 21. Okay, our first product niche that we're going to be taking a look at that I believe is going to be a great product to at least begin selling in April are Mother's Day decorations. Now, the reason why I say to get this going right now, the reason why this is a product for April 2021 is because, as I mentioned previously, it's going to take at least 20 to 30 days to actually get the product in country, and then you have to get it checked into your Amazon FBA inventory. Now, it's ideal to actually get some sales going, get some reviews on your products right before one of these big holidays, such as Mother's Day. So if you're unaware, in the United States, Mother's Day is Sunday, May 9th. So this puts us at next week, really, to get started the first week of April to put these products in order, get them checked into our Amazon FBA inventory, maybe the 3rd to 4th week of April. And at that point, we can get some sales, and that's when we're going to be seeing that peak demand, probably that first week of May. So taking a look at this niche, we're going to take a look at the Jungle Scout data that's shown here. Again, this is Mother's Day decorations, verbatim as shown here. It's in the toys and games category, surprisingly. And before we jump into the trends or the competition or anything, I want to bring you down here to the search volume. So in the search volume, this is a 2-year history dating back to April 19. As you can see, right around April 14th, we really began to see a lot of pickup for this product niche. And then it peaked right around that last week of April to early May. So really right before the holiday. Now that's what we're trying to predict here. So same thing in 2020, we saw a very similar situation. The world was very different. So that is why we're seeing a huge interest, a huge search volume because of COVID-19, and everyone was ordering their products online, especially these Mother's Day decorations. I expect the demand to be very similar this year, if not even greater, because now Amazon is really the gateway to purchasing goods, especially for an e-commerce platform. So as you can see here in 2020, very similar situation. Demand started picking up that first week of April, and it peaked that first week of May for 2020. So I expect us to see a very similar situation. This is going to be a seasonal product, but that's okay. As a beginner seller, you should be looking to sell these seasonal products because you can really get a great deal of demand, a great deal of sales with a generic product. And with a generic product, you don't have to private label it, you don't have to have your own trademark brand. It's really convenient for beginner sellers. As we can see here, fast forward to this past month in March, the demand is slightly picking up since February, and I can only imagine it's going to follow the same trend. So we're gonna get ahead of this trend by ordering this now and establishing ourselves in the market sometime in the mid-April to late April timeframe. And in that first week of May, you're going to be seeing a huge amount of sales. So looking at this a little bit deeper, this data is going to be reflective of the recent times right now. It's not going to be forward-looking like we already are looking at the search volume. But as we can see, even the past 30 days, we've seen a great trend as far as the search trend, 249% month over month. And then in the last 90 days, nearly 667%. So that's great. Jungle Scout's telling us, based on their backend data, this has very low competition and has a great niche score of an 8. And lastly, as I mentioned, this is a seasonal product, so you're looking to put a lot of units in FBA. If you're a beginner, 200 units is a great way to start out. Send them to Amazon FBA. I guarantee you're going to be able to sell all 200 of those units within that first week because the demand is going to be increasing so much. So if we go to Amazon and we take a look at the Chrome extension, well, before we do that, you guys can check out some of the decorations. Now, just find something generic. I mean, it doesn't have to be too fancy, too creative. Look on Alibaba, look on DHgate, check with some existing suppliers and see what they can do. You want something that is trendy, but also a classic Mother's Day decoration, like a pillow, some type of banner. Those would be great. So looking at the Chrome extension, I don't believe this opportunity score is going to be that great. as I mentioned previously at the beginning of this video, just because it's just taking data that it's receiving right now and it's not looking into the future, right? So as you can see here, it just popped up. We're looking at a low demand, low competition, an opportunity score of about a 5. However, remember that niche score is an 8, so it really gives you a great opportunity as a beginner seller. So with that being said, a lot of this data, these are existing sellers. A lot of them seem fairly new. As you can see here, this is March 23rd. They began selling this. Their top 3 seller now. March 17th, February 21. So a lot of smart sellers are gaining wind of this popular holiday coming up. They're getting prepared. They're establishing the product now so that they can receive that peak demand come that first week of April. It's not too late. If you put your order in the first week of April and you get it by the end of April, you're still going to have an opportunity as a beginner seller to be able to go ahead and make a lot of sales that first week. All right, and then just to validate this with Google, it's always great to use some additional search trend resources just to validate what Jungle Scout's providing. Jungle Scout is a great platform, however, it isn't perfect. So it's great to have multiple sources of data to take a look at to validate your product niche, your product idea. As you can see here, I'm looking at Mother's Day decorations, the same product niche, but I'm looking at the search term on Google over the last 12 months in the United States. As you can see here, we've had a little interest in the past month or two, but not a whole lot. However, if we go back to 2020, as you can see, we saw the demand start to increase that second to third week of April. And just like the Jungle Scout data was showing, that first week of May, right before the holiday, we saw the peak. All right, guys, I think this is a great seasonal fad type of product to be selling, a great beginner opportunity, but you need to act on it very quickly in order to see that peak demand. On to our second product here. Our second product is a very specific product niche, and that's okay. That is going to be a hollow out twist bodycon dress. Now, if you're unsure what a bodycon dress is, I'll show you some images here just so you can get an idea what we're looking at. They're these tight-fitting dresses for women. They're one piece, it looks like. And the unique thing about these dresses is the twist effect that's shown here, as well as they're hollowed out. So that must be very popular amongst women right now in the United States. And that's why this is one of the top products that I see for April and the coming months ahead. As we look at the search volume trend down here, 2020, even the last 2 years, it really hasn't been a thing for this specific product niche up until this past February point. Now, when you see such a heightened demand in such a short amount of time, again, this could be a possibility for a fad, but looking at the trend data, which we'll get into, I think this is going to be a little longer than just a couple months. I think this can at least go for at least 6 to 8 months in the future of selling these at a decent rate. A lot of times when you do see this, there may be something on social media. There may be a popular brand that's selling these type of dresses, or maybe something on TV or Netflix, and so it's really hard to pinpoint exactly why this is happening. But as sellers, as beginner sellers, it's great to get ahead of this when you see this spike in demand, and you can ride that curve going forward. So for this, we're looking at a 30-day search trend of 3,769%, which is absolutely insane. That's a huge, huge heightened demand. And then as we see for the 90-day trend, the longevity of this, we're seeing about 1,586%. Great numbers right there. Really, really great numbers. For the competition, Jungle Scout's predicting this to have very low competition, and similar to our Mother's Day decorations product niche, it also has a score of an 8. The thing that's different about this, Jungle Scout is also saying that this has very low seasonality. I predict this to have some seasonality despite what Jungle Scout says here, because this looks like a type of dress that is really only worn in the spring and the summer, not necessarily the fall or the winter unless you're in the southern United States. So looking at this, let's take a look at the Chrome extension and see what we have here. So Jungle Scout is predicting this to have a 7 opportunity score, high demand with low competition. What I really like about this is that the brands, for the top 10 sellers at least, they are not name brands. These are obviously third-party sellers with their own brand trying to sell this product. A lot of them may just be selling them generically for under the top 10 sellers. But for the top 10 sellers, you can see that the monthly revenue is pretty high. We're looking at sellers in the 20,000s to the mid 10,000, which is great numbers. If you apply a 30 to 40% profit margin, you're looking at some great profit per month just for selling these clothing items. Now it's important to note with clothing, it's very common to sell different variations, meaning different sizes and different colors. So that is something you want to think about if you want to sell this product, is that more than likely you don't just want to sell one of those variations in one size. You're really limiting your market. You're limiting the amount of consumers that you can sell this to. Now looking at the Google trend here, just to validate what Jungle Scout's saying and also validating what I'm predicting to be a good product, We're looking at bodycon dresses in general over the past 12 months. Unfortunately, this product niche for hollow out twist bodycon dress, that is a very specific product niche in there, and Google won't necessarily have enough data to provide you this nice trend. However, just looking at a higher level of the actual dresses themselves, we can see back in 12 months ago, we've started to see the demand start to increase, and it's been pretty stable over time, as you can see. Now, what I'm interested in is the last 2 to 3 months, which I'm showing here on the right side. We can see that demand is almost at that 100% interest over time rate. So it's almost at that peak demand, which is great news to begin selling this product now so you can gain a lot of those rewards. Okay, and on to the last product here that I am most excited about, and that is the product niche called summer decorations for home. So you're thinking, this is just like the Mother's Day, Josh. This is very seasonal. I don't want to sell seasonal products, but again, as beginner sellers, it's a really good opportunity to sell seasonal products again, because you do not have to worry about private labeling your products, creating a brand, creating a trademark, all those complexities that really steer a lot of beginner sellers away. With generic products you can sell in these seasonal areas, you can quickly turn around your inventory and make a quick profit. So this is one area that I'm going to be focused on selling in the next month or two. So taking a look at search volume trend as we've been doing before, as you can see in March 2020, we begin to see an increase in demand, and then we saw almost an exponential increase the first and second weeks of April. People seem to always be focused on the next season, even though it may have just hit spring. People are thinking, all right, let's take a look at the summer and see if we can get ahead of the neighbors, right? So jokes aside, I really think this is a great product, and over the next 2 months, especially in April, May, and then even into June, you're going to have a great opportunity to sell those products. So take a look at the 30-day search trend, 263%, 659% in the 90-day search trend. Again, Jungle Scout was predicting this to have very low volume in a product niche of a 7. So let's go ahead and check the Chrome extension like we've been doing just to validate this. As of right now, I do not expect this number to be very high. However, there are some other metrics that I'm going to show you guys here that I'm actually pretty excited about. So as you can see, Jungle Scout's already predicting this to have a high demand with medium competition, a score of a 7. That is really good for it being the end of March, not even nearing the summer season. So once we actually hit the summer seasons, I guarantee you that this number is going to go to an 8 or even possibly a 9. So it's great. They are great numbers. Right now, look at the monthly revenue on some of these top seller items. Look at this. We're nearly $341,000 in the monthly revenue, $316,000, $177,000 for some of these top sellers, and it's only March. So as you can imagine, as we get to April, May especially, these numbers could nearly double, if not even triple themselves, since this is a seasonal product. Okay, and the last thing here are the brands. As you can see, a lot of the brands are not well-known brands, so that gives you a great opportunity to compete with them and actually to convert a lot of the sales. Lastly, just to validate this, I want to look at a wider trend for summer decorations in general. This is taking a look at the trend in search volume over the past 5 years. So as you can see, it's very cyclical. So as we approach the spring mainly, we begin to see an increase in demand for summer decorations. The peak here back in 2017 came the last week of June. If we look at 2018, it came the last week of May. If we take a look at 2019, the peak was mid-May. So as you can see, there's a trend, right? Back in 2017, it was later towards the summer, and now it's earlier, and earlier. For 2020, June, May timeframe, so that was somewhat similar to 2019. But what I'm most excited about is if you look at the past 2 months, the search trend, it's beginning to increase. So we're starting to see that upward trend for the search volume for summer decorations. This is a key indicator, at least in my book, that this is going to be a popular product come April and especially in May and closer to June. So get ahead of the curve today, guys. A part of being an Amazon seller is thinking ahead what people are going to want in the future, not necessarily just going to Jungle Scout, putting a bunch of filters in, finding the best opportunity score you can, because guess what? Every beginner seller is doing that. They are all looking for that highest score. They are not thinking ahead like experienced sellers. So if you want to be a long-term Amazon seller, get ahead of the curve, start thinking about months to come, the product that's going to be great. And I guarantee you're going to have more success that way than trying to jump into a fad type product like some type of toy and making a bunch of sales within that short amount of time frame. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're looking for future content on these top 3 products. I do this once a month. I post the video a day or 2 before that month, and it gives you a good idea of what to expect and what to purchase for your Amazon store in order to make some good sales. Okay, guys, I'll catch y'all in the next video.